Best Podcast Ever is sponsored by the Gertzberg Law Firm, a full-service business law firm in Cleveland and Chagrin Falls that's changing the way businesses retain their attorneys. Go to gertzberglaw.com to learn more. While you're there, check out Cover My Six, a complete legal audit of the 6 areas that most often create or prevent business lawsuits and government investigations. Go to covermysix.com to learn how we keep you safe. Enjoy the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're about to listen to the best podcast ever recorded.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, listeners.
Thank you.
Thank you, listeners.
Hi, ladies.
Hi, Alex.
Oh, we're totally starting every podcast that way from now on. My goodness. Nellie Gertzberg.
Hi,
Roll
everybody.
call. Molly Gebler.
Yo, yo.
Roll call.
Emily Gebler.
Hello.
We are all here. This is so exciting.
Happy anniversary, Alex.
Happy
I didn't think we
anniversary,
would make
Molly.
it to
Oh, my
50.
goodness.
Happy 50th.
This is
We
so
did
exciting. The
it.
big 5-0.
Yay.
Is it if we were married, what would this be? You're not married for
Silver-
50
gold?
years. That's crazy.
Is it gold?
Who's ever married
Is
for
it
that?
silver? Silver's 70.
Do they even know? Cemetery? Gravestone?
If you're married for 50 years,
You
you're,
give each other your
you get a free
gravestone.
divorce.
No, I would like to know what
It's got to be gold. It's
what
a
you should be
it's
getting
diamond. I
me.
bet it's diamond anniversary.
No.
It is personalized. That's
Golden.
the
It's the
theme.
golden anniversary.
Happy
Gamblers.
golden
Yes.
anniversary.
Thank you for my gold,
Sorry.
Alex.
You're
You know
welcome.
what? My gift is you.
Aw.
You're enough of a gift. I don't
Molly,
need anything.
Wow,
for
that's
our
such a mom
50th.
thing to say.
Kvetching. You're kvetching.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
All right. So here, let's decide on mic what we're going to talk about on our.
Can we
50th
talk about
anniversary
Google Calendar?
Oh my
Why?
gosh.
Why
Why
would
do you
Because
wanna
I
talk
just
about that?
discovered it.
What?
Oh my gosh.
That sounds like a.
I'm
What's
obsessed.
life like under a rock?
I'm just so obsessed. I
right.
can look at my phone and see what's going on at the
You,
office.
of all people, have the busiest calendar.
I
How do
know,
you
but
not
I'm a
have
paper
instant
calendar.
access?
I'm a paper calendar
Well,
girl.
And
Oh.
she
The
takes
future.
pictures
I know.
of the pages on her paper calendar.
I think that
This is
with
better.
with 4 of us, we're going to have to take great care to not all talk at the same time, much less 2 or 3 of
That
us talking at
happens.
Yeah.
It does. All right.
Three
so
girls.
I think I did it just now.
I've added Google Calendar to our.
Alex isn't going to get a word in.
No, I'm going to walk out of here.
All right.
Nobody will notice.
Let's create the agenda.
All right.
Google Calendar. I want us to all
Answer lightning rounds.
questions.
Come on. Oh my gosh. Let's just go, man.
People
Whatevs.
that use calendars like agendas.
Could we?
That's
so
why I
We're going
don't.
to talk about our guest list and who our favorite what our favorite moments were with whom. We could talk about sound effects.
Okay. Or
No,
make them.
Both.
What are you talking about?
Let's ask our audience at home to weigh in on whether they want sound effects during the podcast.
Yeah, you can take a gander at our earlier episodes when there were more sound effects,
We could do a poll
and then we stopped. Oh,
on our Facebook page.
yeah.
There's like you just create a
That's a
poll.
new
It's all.
feature.
Hmm. Well, it's not new, but
Oh,
not like
sorry.
Google. Not like Google Calendar.
A lot sooner than that.
But yeah, a poll would be fun.
Speaking of poll, do you guys think that it's appropriate for my 12 and 14-year-old boys to say that's what she said?
No.
No?
They shouldn't even know what she said.
I was gonna say they're probably saying it, but they're not truly understanding.
Jacob
what.
gets it, for sure.
That makes me very uncomfortable. You know what else made me uncomfortable? Going to the strip club with my brother over the weekend.
I know. Let's talk about that. I'm adding that to the
What?
agenda.
What we did over the weekend.
What?
Yeah. All right, I'm adding that to the agenda. Wait, so is the consensus that that's what she said is not appropriate for 12 and 14-year-old boys to say?
I think it depends.
I mean, I think that I think they just don't know what.
I'm telling you they do. Jacob gets it.
Like what?
He
Give me an
explained it to me,
example
and-
of what he said. That's
Yeah.
what she said too.
So
I've heard them say it and they don't use it correctly.
So when you
Right.
said let's take a poll, Jacob, if you were sitting right here, would say that's what she
See,
said.
that would be an appropriate use of the term.
That would be.
But
But is it appropriate for a 12-year-old to say it?
Not him. Not anybody I'm related to.
Shouldn't
Foo.
Oh no, dude. Do you know what these kids know? They're so advanced.
Well, that's scary.
Here's what I think. I think that if it's funny, and it doesn't overtly
Objectify women, perhaps?
Yeah,
Maybe we should.
Yeah, that's true. I would
prevent
not.
That's a
those.
great opportunity for conversation.
I would not want any joke that any of them said to be demeaning to women. So I don't think that's what she said is demeaning. Do you guys think it is?
Well,
It's all the
it's
context.
not about that's
He can
what
say
she
it
said.
too.
It's about what was said.
saying.
Well, if it again, let's use the example that spawned this conversation. Let's take a poll. That's what she said.
But that's not what he said it to, because that was our conversation.
No, but-
give me something that he
But if
said
he
it
said
to.
it to this just now, would that be okay?
All right.
I mean, like
So-
if he said, "Let's ride a motorboat," and
He doesn't know what that is.
well, that's what I'm saying, and then he threw in that's what he said.
Do they watch The
You know what?
Office?
Here,
'Cause
I'll
that
give
is where
you-
it came
that's-
from.
That is
Okay.
that's where they got
I think
it.
it's been
Here.
around a lot longer, but that got bigger.
I think
Yeah.
they're
The show.
saying it, and they're really truly not understanding the motorboat or the pole or the whatever it
No,
is. I think it's
They
just
get
a.
it. Here's when it comes up the
Well, if
most.
they
when
get
I,
it, then you
It's-
need to correct it
and
because
it's-
it's not right.
It's
not
only
good
funny
for them.
because they see you laughing at
Damn it,
it.
Molly, making me wish I
I
didn't ask you
know.
that question.
Hey, I just watched the documentary on Mr. Rogers last night, which is
Ooh, I
should
phenomenal.
see
It's at Silver Spot.
It was really good.
You can have champagne, a hamburger.
It's not just
and
like
popcorn
a
and
Netflix
put your-
thing. It's a theater thing.
It's in the theaters right now, but I'll tell
Oh.
you, he was really just focused on loving kids and just making them feel like
And public television, right? Wasn't
Oh,
he a
yes.
big? He went to
spoke
Congress.
To Congress.
Yeah,
that video
and
of him
got
speaking to
200,000.
Congress.
That
for
was in there.
PBS. That's inspiring.
and the guy was a jerk. Like if you watch the
Really?
guy that he presented in front of, he was just a mean,
the congressman
nasty.
was. Okay.
Yeah, and he's like, "What do you want, Rogers?" And then he went, and literally right after he said what he said, the guy said, "You know what, Mr. Rogers? You just earned yourself $200,000, $200 million, or whatever the
Really?
number was that he
Wow.
was going for." Yeah, and the whole place
I
clapped.
slept the whole time.
Emily did and snored.
You must have been comfortable.
It was very
Nice
comfortable.
theater.
Yeah, it was a good nice theater to sleep in.
Yeah, so you know, I it's up to you. It's up to you,
All right.
Alex Kurtzberg.
I'm going to. Here's what I've decided. I will allow them to say that's what she said, but our rule is it cannot be demeaning to women in any way. It cannot be overtly like sexual.
But that's
That's-
I mean, that's
no.
the
I know.
whole
I know.
purpose.
That's a small
It's a fine line.
Yeah, but like if you think about it, if you listen to like The Office doing it, I mean, Michael has no idea what he's saying in it. He just
That
says
kinda
that's
makes it
what
funny.
she
Yeah.
said,
Kind
and
of
that's
like
why I
how a
think they
teenage
do
boy
it.
says
Yeah.
it,
Well,
right.
and here's the final
Just to
rule.
make people laugh.
Yeah.
And this is a rule that we've actually implemented is if you say it in an inaccurate way, then you're not allowed to say it for the whole rest of the day. Right? So Ethan, for example, he drops it when he's not supposed to, when it doesn't make any sense. And we're like,
And he's not allowed
we
to
always
the
go,
rest of the
judges, and
Well,
then he
see,
can't say it
you're
again.
making a joke about it, which is probably not the best thing to do because there seems like there's a lot of rules around this game, and I'm thinking maybe that the likelihood of I'm thinking every time they say it, it's hitting one of your rules. I mean, is there ever a time that it's not
Well,
demeaning to women or it's not sexually?
Here's what I think
Or
the
it-
problem is. I think that they're overusing it, and like any comedic phrase or joke, if you overuse it, it's not funny. What they need is to know how to use it selectively so it retains the humor and the power. I've heard them overuse it.
What I'm hearing you say is I need to educate them on the proper use of that's what she said.
Well,
Just
that's
don't
the
do it if it's not
problem. No,
funny.
because they're not old enough for that
All
yet.
right, Molly, you know
That's
what?
the problem.
I'm withdrawing this question. I don't want to talk about it with you
Edit the whole
anymore.
thing out.
I don't want to talk about it with you anymore because you're making me feel bad for letting them use
Do we
it.
need other items on our agenda, or can we
All right.
continue?
Well, here's what's on the
Agenda?
agenda. Here's what's on the agenda so far. Strip club with your siblings.
Oh, let's go right there.
So Nellie and I went to this bachelorette party last Saturday, was it, Nellie?
Correct.
Our friend was getting married.
Yay, Mazel Tov.
Good job. And
Wait, Mazel Tov?
Yeah.
It's not
Good luck
tough.
and congratulations.
Isn't it Mazel Tov?
It is.
Both.
Okay.
I mean, we're
Well,
not
you would
speaking
know. Out of
Hebrew
all
here.
the people here,
Like, maybe
you
if I-
two would know more than.
If I was a native Hebrew speaker, maybe my pronunciation would be different, but
If you want to say it wrong, it's Mazel Tov.
is it?
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Mazel
Who
Tov.
knows?
Tov. It doesn't matter. Anyway,
I
so
want to say it right.
here's what happened. So we started out at the corner alley, and it was lovely. We had fun. We
Some
bowled.
bowling.
Yeah, and it was really
Drinks and appetizers.
right. Probably 15, 20 people there, probably. Right.
Yeah.
We had the private
VIP.
VIP bowling. Ooh, remember when I bowled a strike through your legs?
Oh yeah, that was great.
Dude, that was it was a
Everyone-
spare.
Was that
It
at
was
the
sick.
strip club?
Before. Nellie
That was at the bowling
stood
alley,
in
but
the
that was a
way
good
of
one.
my roll, and she straddled the thing, and I was like, I don't care, I'll bowl right through your legs. And she had that confidence. She was like, let's do it, Alex. So I did it, and I got a spare.
And afterwards, Josh said he was worried because we don't have insurance right now, and he saw the bowling ball coming at me
Into the
and said we
uterus.
probably shouldn't do this.
Uh-huh.
But
Yeah.
it worked.
That was awesome.
It worked out okay.
Um,
And yeah,
so that happened, and then we went to Christie's, right? And it was very weird seeing Nellie and then a naked chick dancing only a few feet
very
away.
awkward.
I would
That
think
was
I'm
awkward.
not sure why you came. Oh, I guess we drove together.
Yeah. What do you mean you're not sure? Like, I was part of the shindig.
I guess.
Why wouldn't I go?
Was he
I
not
probably
part? Did
shouldn't
he
have gone.
invite himself to this shindig?
No, everyone was invited.
Okay. I
It was
wasn't
probably
invited.
like 10 to 15 people there instead of the 15 to
Yeah.
25.
Our families
lost
are
a
very
few.
close. We grew up. We came to America at the same time.
Yeah, our mothers were pregnant together.
Yeah.
and Our fathers owned a business together.
That's true. They were partners. That's true. Yeah, in their very first business venture, they were partners. So anyway, so we grew up. We were very close. There was a point in time when somebody got his bride a joint
Side-by-side.
side lap dance.
Oh my god.
Now well, they're both pretty.
That was
good
her first time at a strip club.
at a strip club, much less getting a lap dance.
I've never been to a strip club.
Not true.
Really?
I refuse
Totally
to believe
true.
that.
I mean, I worked there,
right.
but I never. No, just kidding.
And she's a pretty conservative gal, wouldn't you say?
Well,
I would even say, like, is she religious? I thought she was religious.
She's trying to be.
Yeah. You have never seen a more uncomfortable, queasy, and awkward situation as
Meanwhile,
when
I
these
looked
two.
at them and I said, "These two are going to live happily ever after."
Dude, I
I
couldn't
thought it was a
believe.
very sweet,
Because they're getting a
romantic
lap
moment.
dance together.
Well, yeah, they're just like they're together and open to doing all these new things and not scared and just happy to be together.
I felt like it was a shared moment of raw terror, right? And just I was looking, I was like, she just wants to like tear her eyes out right now. Yeah. But she was a good sport about it. She
She's
let it go
so
to the
good.
very end. They might have gotten two of them actually. I think there was a second dance.
Literally to the end.
I noticed after, we have an episode coming up that will have to be marked as explicit. Maybe
Yes.
this one as well will have to be
Maybe.
explicit.
Which one's coming up that's explicit?
Jim Looney? That'll be the next one.
Oh,
after
that's
this one.
definitely explicit.
There's-
That's true.
I don't know if this
Saying-
conversation is.
Well, let's see where it goes.
No, this one there was.
Do we have more to add on that topip? Strip clubs? Any other
Emily,
business
have
or
you
Well-
ever been to a
news?
strip
I'm
club?
not.
Tell your
no.
mother now.
I'm not. No.
No, I mean, I would say back in the day growing up that Christie's was a big one. The Executive Den.
We've done trips to
I called it-
Crazy Horse.
I called it the den.
Wait, you've been
Yeah.
to
Den.
multiple times?
Yeah, I have friends that like to go, and I like to hang out with my friends.
I will say
You
this.
have lady friends that like to go
Yeah,
to see women.
some of them. Yeah.
Nellie's
Really?
progressive. She's
Yeah,
forward
I just
thinking.
want to
But
spend time
how
with
is
my
that
friends.
not
and that's what
demeaning
they-
to women?
Well, I try and appreciate their talent for movement, and I mentioned this.
I'm gonna
at-
call bullshit on that.
No,
right
I
now.
mentioned this at the strip club. How there's these like 7 kinds of intelligences. It's not Gardner's theory. I think it might be Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences, and there's specific kinds. There's musical intelligence. There's mathematical, spatial. There's also like kinesthetic. I'm using the wrong labels for these, but it's the ideas. And athletes have a special kind of intelligence that others of us don't have, where they know how to move their body.
Are
and
you
coordinate.
honestly saying that? Are you calling a stripper an athlete right now?
You know what? I'm
yes,
okay with
I think
that.
you
I just
should.
don't feel like that is what they want to be doing.
So can I?
I think it's individual.
Can I weigh in on
I
this?
think that there's
Each
a lot
one.
of girls who get caught up in it, and then they just can't get out, and
Pays well.
it's
Or
not.
it pays so well.
Can I share
Yeah.
my thoughts on this? Because I have
I
very
was trying
strong.
to share mine, but obviously
Apparently.
yours are more important.
I thought
so
we were
go-
gonna work on not talking over
yeah,
each
so
other,
go
but
right
go
ahead,
ahead,
Alex.
Alex.
What are your thoughts?
I'm sorry, Molly.
No,
please,
no, please.
no. Please
Molly
complete
doesn't
your.
think that they want to be there.
I'm not saying all. I'm sure some that from the minute they were
Probably
born,
true.
they
That's
wanted
true.
to be a stripper. I'm sure of it.
A lot of people in every
Yes, Alex,
Are
what
you
do you got?
finished, Molly? I apologize for speaking over you earlier.
No.
Here's how, I don't believe that you can couch as demeaning all strippers that
Not
work
all,
at strip
correct.
clubs. I do agree with you that there are some that are pressed into that service and who are having an abusive relationship with the boss, or who are manipulated somehow, or are too young to make decisions on their own. Right? Definitely shouldn't have anything to do with
Drugs.
it. There should be some sort of evaluation of how demeaning it is per person or per class of people, right?
But just the act of it is.
But see, that's where
Or
I
it's
think
empowering.
that's where, yeah, exactly.
go either
I
way.
think. Well, plus, like, did you see how athletic some of those strippers were? They went
my
all the way to the
goodness.
top of the pole and did like some Cirque du Soleil shit up there. So
And then
athletic
it's like
wise,
slide down without their hands.
That was
But
kinda
not one. I mean, everyone is 99% subtracting, maybe Nelly, as objectifying
no.
them.
All right, so let me
agree.
finish my
I do
thought.
agree with that.
Hang on a second. Let me finish my thought about that.
I'll
right?
allow it.
So, to the extent that there are strippers, and I believe they prefer exotic dancers, but whatever.
Do you?
Should we
To
call
the-
one up?
Yeah. Do you know it? I
Phone a
know a
friend?
few. Yeah, whatever.
We actually have a special guest here today.
So listen. So to the extent that they are mature women who are making sound business decisions to use their body how they see fit, in a way that makes them a lot of money. And I'm actually, I don't even think prostitution objectifies women. I think that people should use their body however they want in a way that doesn't hurt other people. And
As long as it's voluntary.
as long as
You
it's
wanna
totally
qualify it that
consensual.
way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, as long as it's totally consensual. And nobody is, I mean, yeah, you're going to have dudes in there that are just kind of scummy and that do objectify women, but I don't think that should affect how a woman makes a
woman's
business
right to do
decision.
it.
Yeah, yeah. She wants to make a business decision with what she's going to do with her time and her body in order to make money. I'm all for it. You know?
Yeah, but in that process is the objectifying the men that are just there.
Those dudes
objectifying.
might be objectifying women, but I don't think that should affect the decisions that the women do.
I mean, it's considered like pole dancing is like considered like a really like good workout.
Yeah.
too.
It's
like
like
people
fitness
do it as like a
classes.
Yeah.
fitness class.
Yes.
Yeah.
And these are not the women we're talking about.
Molly, let
This
me
is
ask you a
very-
question.
This is a complex topic. We really should have an
very-
expert
Yes.
weighing
I-
in
I-
on
you're-
this.
you got one sitting
been,
right
or,
here.
or a debate club
Hold
debate.
on. Molly, how do you feel about Playboy magazine? The same way?
That's a tough one.
That is, you know what? I haven't really given it much thought.
Okay. Because the next question would be, how do you feel about like the swimsuit issue in Sports Illustrated, or about Cosmo and fashion magazines? I think that
Or
there's
the
a
Miss America pageant, which only recently stopped
Now
the
that's
swimsuit.
that your way. I think that's a way right. I'm talking about a woman who is naked dancing for a man.
And what I'm talking about is a mature woman making a business decision with how she's using her body.
I would need to pull 10 of them in and have a conversation with them
You
to
said
to be able to make a
pull 10
decision,
of
because I will guarantee 8 out of the 10, and obviously I have
Yeah.
no proof on this
Basis.
whatsoever, got started not for the right reasons. It wasn't an independent choice. It wasn't to feel free to I'm a woman and I can use my body any way that I want it to be. I'm sure
Or I
it
can
was,
control people with my body. That's
Yeah, I'm
the
sure
empowering side.
but
8 out of 10.
To a
Mom?
point. I mean,
Yeah, we don't know.
I think that there's some psyche in there if you're using your body to control somebody. If you want to decide what to do with your body, that's fine. But if you're using it to control other people, now that's not right, I don't think.
I don't think that's why they're doing it. I think they're doing it to make money, period. I think that's their primary motivation.
Have we talked about this long enough?
I know.
I will say one more thing about
Oh,
strip
boy.
clubs.
No, we haven't.
Apparently.
One last thing. And this is also...
How much money did you drop, Alex?
None. I didn't spend any money on strippers that day at all.
That day.
I did, however, used to call the Crazy Horse my satellite conference room, but no, that's not true.
What's your point now?
I'm a little bit disappointed in the fact that a lot of strippers have way too much body art. There's way too much tattooing happening these days. You know what I mean?
A second ago,
that's
you were all
bothering
for
him.
women having control.
To do their
No,
body.
I'm
Do
just
what
saying,
they
as
want.
a consumer, as a lover of good art.
Oh, you want to be a scuzzy guy in the audience now? Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't realize we were.
No, he wants
Stop it.
their body to look just
No,
the way
I'm just-
he wants. He wants to enjoy
I'm not-
them the way
well,
he
so
wants.
first
them
of
to
all,
enjoy
I don't appreciate the characterization as a scuzzy guy in the audience. And second of all, no, here's what I'm saying. I'm saying that, and this is true. Nate Haskell and I were just talking about that we observed this at Kalahari the other. Like he went to Great Wolf Lodge. I went to Kalahari. It just seems like people are overdoing it with the tattoos.
So we're moving into tattooing.
Let's talk
Is that where
tattoos.
All right.
I'm not
Tattoo
telling.
talk.
I'm not telling anybody how to apply tattoos to their body. I'm just saying that as like an observer.
Now you're sounding like me.
As an observer, I kind of want to go back to the days when it was just like a cute little tattoo. You know what I mean? Or maybe like two or
tramp
so,
stamp.
but like a big giant like
I think
series of
those-
tattoos all over
those
your backs. I just don't dig
shows
it.
got them to be more popular.
It's
All
very
those-
subjective.
Those
Reality
tattoo
shows?
yeah.
I'm not personally.
I
I'm
don't
not a
think
fan.
this is a very interesting topic
Me
at all.
neither.
And I think that
It's interesting to me.
having a range of bodies, some with lots of tattoos, some with fewer tattoos, is better because there's something for everybody. You may not like it, and fortunately, there are probably girls that don't have it. You don't have to like everybody.
I just
There's
said
good-
this
there
is
might be some
very.
people-
I just said
I
it's
think Nellie
subjective.
might
I
be a
get
little
it.
too analytical for us.
I know.
She really,
Well,
she really keeps it
here's-
straight and narrow.
Well, you're welcome.
yeah.
Here's the real
Yes.
question: is since Nellie is the producer and editor, and since she didn't like what she just heard,
Oh, she's gonna cut out whatever she wants to make us sound like asses.
Is this going to end up in the final podcast?
Well, is this what
It's
you
the
want your
final-
50th anniversary
no,
episode?
not tattoos.
What?
Not tattoos and
I voted-
strippers.
I
mean,
vote it also-
seriously. Good
Wait,
God.
we can make
No.
this the episode of sin and talk about all the different vices we can think of.
Dude, first of all, if any of the stripper or tattoo discussion gets edited, I'm going to be ticked. That was solid content right
The
there.
tattoo was
What?
not solid at all.
Whatever. You guys don't
There
know.
was no
Right.
point of that. There's no point.
I'm just
of
saying,
that.
I personally don't like
it was
a whole lot of
almost
tattoos.
like Google Calendar. I don't mind if that gets cut out. Trust
Total-
me.
All right, let's move on. All right, so
Well, how much time do you need to talk about Google Calendar?
I don't need any.
Okay.
I'm bored already.
good. All right, let's talk about this guest list.
I think people just love
Guest
listening to Alex and I just knock on each other.
Let's
I get
do
a lot
another
of
poll.
that.
I'll
They
set all
do.
these.
We'll
We'll set up
I
some
get a
polls.
lot of that.
What's your favorite part of the show? Is it the banter? Is it the interview? Or is it the lightning round?
A lot of people like that. People that I talk to that listen to it talk like Alex and I.
Is that what
chemistry?
Is that what they say to your face?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. And behind my back.
I
from what
think
I heard.
a lot of our listeners are friends and family and acquaintances with our guests.
Yes, for sure.
So those are
And I think
probably
they-
the higher percentage of listeners.
But they fall in love
Oh, well, who
with
wouldn't?
us. Yeah. Yeah, they do.
You're probably right.
How
So,
could you not?
do you have the list? Have
I
you seen
mean-
this list?
After
Emily
until
has
this episode,
Damn
to the stripper tattoo episode.
That's what we'll call it? The stripper tattoo episode?
Yeah.
So, guess.
I mean, we have had Santa Claus, a Broadway actor.
I was thinking,
Some
here's what I'm thinking. I'm going to
superintendents.
start some playlists
Superintendents.
for people and group together. That's why I started writing notes on there. We have had a lot of lawyers.
Yeah.
I know we've had 2 athletes, maybe more. We could have a playlist of those. Maybe we could have a playlist of entertainers.
Interesting.
So both musicians and actors and Santa.
I will tell
We
you
had
this.
2 Boy Scouts, I think.
I'm going to tell you this. If nobody listened to this podcast at all, I would be so immensely proud of it anyway. And I'll tell you why. Because it really is like my favorite people, and my favorite kinds of people that were the guests on this podcast. And having the ability to sit with them for an hour to an hour and a half and ask them questions and learn about them was very valuable to me personally. And what I would say is, if you're listening to this now and you haven't listened to any of the prior podcasts, I don't even think you really need to pick who my favorite or Molly's favorite or anyone's favorite is. You are guaranteed to learn something about how another person has lived their life in a way that has made them successful. And these are all pretty successful people. And so I've gotten a lot of value out of just talking to these folks, and I know that anybody listening will also.
Do you guys happen to remember episode 1, your intentions as you set out to do this podcast? I know we had different lightning round questions. We may have not even had any at all.
I don't think we had that.
No,
probably should
but
listen to
that
that.
was just you and me just jibber jabbering.
Right,
It
right.
sure
October
was.
2016, that was a year and a half ago.
Crazy. That's crazy.
Who would have? Would you have imagined, Molly, when we were sitting there talking, that we would be talking 50 episodes later?
No, and I think just the consistency of it I love.
Yeah.
I get to spend my Mondays with Alex on the podcast, and that's cool to have that be consistent for a year and a half.
Yeah.
We're both super, super busy. So to be able to carve out a Monday night.
You are both very busy. I'm
think-
impressed that you guys have stuck through and
Yeah.
followed through
Well,
the
it's fun.
commitment.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It is.
This is a good example of the idea that you often bring up of not letting the good be the enemy of the perfect.
Other way around. Perfect be the enemy of the good.
Perfect the enemy
Yeah.
of the good. Like, it wasn't perfect, but we just got to
Yeah.
keep going and learning as we go. And we have come a long way. Still
You've
not
helped
perfect,
with
but we're
that.
going to keep getting better.
You made us professional.
I will add something to what you just said.
I'll allow
right?
it.
Because there's a second concept there. It's not just about not letting the perfect be the enemy of the good, but there's also something to be said about just tiny incremental improvements. If you just keep doing the same thing over and over again 50 times, we got better equipment now. We've got better processes now. I mean, our whole uploading and editing process is light years.
Talk about Rob Sapp. When we got through half of it and we realized it wasn't even recording.
Oh, that was that first time he was on.
That's right.
And we had to bring him
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, and you know what? We needed to go through that in order to make sure
So
that
now
we were
you-
recording all the
Now
time.
you constantly look at that.
So thanks for your
Constantly.
sacrifice, Rob.
And
Thanks,
I
Rob.
have to start a folder in my cell phone because I come in contact with so many people that I want to be guests. But then
Yeah.
when you and I sit down and say, okay, let's talk about our list of guests, I can just never remember anybody.
You don't use that app Color Note?
I do have color note.
Oh, I love
but
it. You
not,
should just start a page.
I'm
for
going
those.
to. I'm going to.
Problem
Because I
solved.
just said to Debbie, who just left, I said, you have to be.
Oh, I
and
talked
she said,
to her
I
about
already,
it.
Yeah.
We
I'm
had
doing
a
it in
little
August.
chat.
Yeah.
Gotta get signed
I
up.
use Evernote for the same thing. I just leave it open, and that's awesome. Evernote is money.
But I have to remember, I have to make it a list for podcast guests.
This is another good opportunity to have the audience recommend.
Upgrades.
Yeah.
Oh,
who do
guests.
you want to hear from?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
Who do
bring
you
'em
guys
in.
want to hear from out there
Come on, people.
in the listening universe?
Podcast.
Yeah, and what should they do? They should email.
Best.Podcast.Ever1@gmail.com. Facebook messages work as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah,
Would you have been pregnant when we started this?
October 2016.
That was immediately after the baby was born. He was born October 2016.
Was that a crazy picture that I posted of Brody at the Newberry concert?
Yeah, with the shirt on?
Yeah.
Is he related?
Emily
to,
was
was
holding.
one
It
of
was a
those-
video. Emily was holding him.
This
No.
is a year
But that was a
ago.
year ago, almost to the day, and here he is in the triangle running around. That's
We'll
why I
share
kind of
that
posted
picture with the
What a
audience.
year
Side by side, a year
how
apart
fast.
of
And now
Baby
he's-
Bodie
yeah.
at the Chagrin Falls concerts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Molly, you have a hard time saying Bodie instead of Brody. Do you
Did
know
I
You have
say
no
Brody?
idea how many people do that. It's
Oh, is that true?
very common.
Did I say Baby Brody right
You
now?
sure did.
Oh.
I mean, I don't
It
care,
happens
but
all
it's
the
Nellie's
time.
child.
It's totally
It's her
fine.
I
firstborn.
know. Obviously, you do care. 'cause
I don't
you
care.
Most people
counted
think
it-
he's a
yeah,
girl,
because you
too.
shouted it out, so you do care.
So, I
Here.
mean,
Oh,
is there a category of guests that we haven't had? We have a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs and
don't have a stripper.
attorneys. We don't have a stripper.
Any strippers out there want to come on our podcast? Give us a call.
my
Call Alex
gosh.
directly.
Or if you, here's the thing, if you want to be a guest and you do something that you feel passionate about, we want to hear about it.
We need to get Kim McCune Gibson
on.
back
Yeah, she's
because
awesome.
Oh, repeat guest. That's a good
yes,
thing to talk about.
she's been posting a lot. She met Anthony Bourdain and hung
Is
with
that right?
him, and has been really taken by his suicide, and has gathered her staff and has meetings with her staff about not getting sucked into the life.
Molly mentioned who she wants. Alex, is there someone
I was
that
looking
you
at this list.
particularly want that you know, like a lot's been going on with them? Or
Can I answer the question this way? Okay. Can I say what I really liked about a few of them? Because I
no,
think
I
this,
get to answer the question now.
All right, Nellie, who would you like
I
to
think
bring
that
on?
Imagine
we
being
need
related
to
to
have
Slow.
Mr. Matt Trinetti, because you weren't here for that episode. Me and Molly and I did it.
Yeah.
And the recording is poor quality, and it's a shame because it was a great interview. And
Yeah.
I think everyone kind of missed out on the quality and value of that one because of the recording equipment. So let's try and get him
Yeah.
back. And then you would really
he's in
like him
England.
too.
Yeah.
Well, next time he's in town. Did you want to answer the question now?
Yeah,
Alex?
I'd like to answer it, but answer it a little bit differently.
I'll
So-
allow it.
So you're just gonna make up your own.
Right. I'll just
question.
disregard your question
Okay,
entirely and ask a
gotcha.
new one. So I will throw out a few names and say if you want to hear from, if you want to hear an episode that's like really, really heartwarming and kind of like inspiring and tugs at the heartstrings a little bit, the Andy Macias episode where he talks about parenting after losing his wife, that is a really good one. Right. And then
Or Bob
also,
and Shannon.
if you want, the Bob Hunt and Shannon Hunt
That'll be in the
are really good too.
heartstring
It's not
playlist.
Shannon Hunt. It's Shannon
Beach.
Beach. Yeah, that's a really good one. Another one, if you want to hear from a couple people who run large organizations and have a high influence in their industries and are just really great leaders, the superintendents ones, right? Anything with Bob Hunt or Nancy Santilli. And then Becky McMahon is that person. Steve
Bales is a good leadership episode.
Yeah,
too.
Steve Bales is a great leadership episode. I don't know.
Let's
yeah.
say the ones that we absolutely never want to come back to the show again.
But here's another one. If you want to hear from like a total rebel and rabble rouser and innovator, Brandon Krastowski's episode is a great one for
I
that.
circled him. I'd like to have him back
Yeah,
again.
you just have a crush on him.
I totally do.
Yeah, but he's a good one for like how to just break rules.
But I have
yeah.
it's not a crush for physical.
professional crush.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I'm just blown away
Yeah.
by his
Yeah.
boldness.
If you want to hear from someone who
And he's
has,
cute.
Sure. If you want to hear any episodes involving someone with really great creativity and artistic talent, the Rob Sapp episodes are great for that.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
He talks about craft and performance and again getting over flop sweat, right? And if
We
you just
should
want to
have
hear
more performers. We don't have a lot of performers on our.
the one coming up with Double D is a good one with
We do
with
have
a performer.
one coming up,
Also
yes.
a very funny one.
Yes, yes. Stay tuned for
Yeah.
that, folks.
The last 10
And we have
minutes
another
of-
lawyer coming up.
Do we? Oh, your sister. Yeah.
I have a feeling
really,
though she's gonna give some secrets away.
Ooh, yeah.
Molly's sister's coming. We'll have a family member playlist that'll have Jacob Gertzberg and
Yes.
Sam's episode.
Yeah.
I was thinking we can also have a women guest playlist. All the females
Sure.
that have been interviewed.
Sure.
Chair.
You could, for the history playlist, you could put Larry Morrow on, and you could put
Evan Morse
on. They were there for some pretty historic moments in Cleveland and beyond. Larry Morrow was like the radio history and rock and roll history of Cleveland, and Dr. Morse was the civil rights and jazz history of America, really. So he talks a lot about that.
I think he was nervous. I don't even think we tapped into him.
I think you're right.
I think he's got, and I think he
Yeah.
knew he was too. He's got
Yeah.
a lot more to say.
And then, of course, the Jeff Hoffman episode is awesome because he
Oh,
gives
that's the
great
leadership.
Yeah,
Well, we
he-
should bring him
playlist.
back because that had to be old equipment.
Yeah, he was the first guest.
Great interview. I recommend that one
Yeah.
to everybody if they don't mind the
Yeah.
equipment.
I really liked the Gene McKesh episode because we got into a lot of dementia stuff with him, and you know,
He could go into the rabble rouser.
the rabble
playlist.
rouser. Yeah, he's a good rebel for sure. Yeah, we can go through all of these, and there's something great about every one of them. But I don't want to do that,
Let's
and I
do
don't want to
that
leave
on our
people
100th
out.
episode.
Yeah, agreed.
That was a good review
Yeah.
of our 50.
If you did not hear
49 episodes.
if you didn't hear your name mentioned, just know it's only because of a lack of time, and we love you, and we want you to
We
come
love
back.
all our guests.
We do.
Past, present, and future.
Yeah.
And there's so much more coming.
There's a
folks.
lot. Yeah.
there really
We've already
is.
booked a whole bunch.
We're booked.
Yeah.
Should we move into answering our lightning round questions? Lightning round. Molly, do you want to ask? You always ask your lightning round questions first, so why don't you?
Okay.
We'll go around the table.
Okay.
What's your first lightning round question?
What's on my mind?
Well, let's just do that one first.
That one?
Whatever
Okay.
comes to mind.
What's on your mind, Alex? What's on your mind? Other than your new bit emoji.
Did you like it?
Did you get that app, Bitmoji?
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you like to see
You know,
Alex's bit?
is that?
We'll post it for the audience. Alex's first Bitmoji.
Yeah. What's on my mind is the health and welfare of my employees lately. I've been really.
Tell me what that means. Maybe you should have a gathering with your
Well-
staff about depression and stuff like that.
No, I mean what I mean is, so we have a. Oh, and by the way, and this will explain a lot what I mean by this, right? So if Nellie will have posted by this time the article I wrote in the Cleveland Metropolitan Bar Journal. It's called "Building the Law Firm I Used to Want to Work For." And in it, I talk a lot about interactions with our employees. We had a good staff meeting today. I talk about things like that. And so what's on my mind is meeting our financial goals and our client-facing goals while at the same time making sure that the employees are happy, right? And a lot of times those are not completely in sync, right? Because you have to push your employees sometimes, and sometimes it's beyond their comfort level. Asking them to practice certain kinds of law that maybe might not be their first choice, or do certain tasks. You know, some lawyers don't like going to court. Some lawyers like drafting contracts, you know, but you have to constantly go into those areas with your employees. So that's what's on my mind.
That's what's on your mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nellie, what's on your mind?
I guess there's some work-life balance. I don't feel too overwhelmed at work, and that's nice. I'm keeping up with the responsibilities.
Where do you work, Nellie?
I work at the Gertzberg Law Firm.
How
And
about
the
that?
We Solve Problems nonprofit organization.
That's true.
And the best podcast ever.
And the best podcast
Wear a lot of
ever.
hats.
Yeah, but primarily those.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm also aware of my life in the work-life balance, the other side of that, and the health and welfare of my friends and family. There's a lot of friends around this weekend for that wedding,
Right.
in from out of town, hoping people are doing well, and I hope that I can help them be best.
Are any of them staying at your house?
No, I think Nate might stay at your house.
Okay.
And
Got it.
Jess. So just making sure that the people I care about are doing well.
Molly, what's on your mind?
I am very tired. And
Why? Why are you so tired?
well, I just don't think I allowed myself to get better. So I'm still kind of suffering from being sick. Been a crazy 2 weeks, just been super, super busy. And I just would like to get my house back in order. So that's on my mind, weighing heavily. I literally have not had one night where I haven't been home maybe by 10 o'clock. And by that time, you don't want to get home and dive into,
You keep an insane schedule. Honestly.
I do.
I don't know how you do it.
I do. But this weekend I'm not going to a couple events on Saturday. I'm not going. I was supposed to be a guest speaker at an event on Sunday, and I finally backed out of that. I just have to get my living room back because my living room houses.
Can you just schedule a
kitchen
day
cupboards.
that's unscheduled?
I can probably take a day off of work, but right now we are just so busy at work that if I took off a day, it would not be good. So
I think you need some work-life balance.
Well, you know what? Here's my work-life balance. I just merged the two of them together. Like, as you could see, my daughter works at the chamber office, so I can spend time with her. I have not seen my husband at all this week because by the time I get home, he's sleeping.
Who wins in that situation?
Who wins?
Yeah.
You know what? That's why we've been married 21 years.
You need breaks sometimes.
Do you feel that when you string enough of those constant work days together that you get more stressed out?
No. I've put this on our staff because I want to enjoy the rest of the summer. So we've been working really hard these last 2 weeks to get everything done for the entire summer, so that by next week I want Jess to take some days off. I want to take a day off here and there. But I the only way I can do that is knowing that everything's set up and in line for the rest of the summer. And it's little things. It's the signs for the concerts, having all those logos printed off and ready to roll. I can't
It's
think
hard
of
to
anything
throw
now, but
those
yeah.
parties. You have a lot of things to think about.
Yeah, and I just want, if we have it all done, then it's done. And it is. We're at a great point. We're actually doing a conference next week, Jess and I, and we're just going to go away for the night. Separate rooms, of course.
Where's the conference?
We will be at Hotel Indigo. We've created our own conference. So we will do that. Then we have the Meet Me at 5. We're going to stay at the hotel, get up, and then spend the rest of the day at Pinecrest, walking the community and introducing ourselves for new membership. So
Awesome.
that's what's on my mind. That was a long-winded.
What's on Emily's mind?
Emily, what's on your mind?
I'm getting antsy.
About what?
Well, I mean, like a year ago today, I was 4 months until going to Paris, and then I've been like home for a month and a half
A lot
ish
has
from New
happened
York.
in the past year.
Yeah, I'm slowing
Paris,
down and I
New
don't
York.
like it. I'm bored.
My child.
I'm bored.
In the last year, you've been to Paris and New York for extended periods of time.
Yes.
You know who you remind me of is Nellie when she was your age, right? You're
I mean,
20,
I did it last year too.
21. Yeah, exactly. When Nellie was 21, you were like
did it
living in
3 months ago.
Australia.
I lived in Australia for a year.
You lived in San Francisco
Junior
for a
brother.
while.
You just got back.
That was just now.
No, you lived there.
I lived outside LA.
Outside
I lived in
LA,
Orange
that's
County
right.
for grad school.
Yeah.
It's nice to get a whole fresh.
Yeah.
With Australia, I said I'm gonna go to the other side of the world, and everything that's not essential to who I am will be different, and I can really get to know myself because I'm not just gonna be a result of my environment.
Right. That's a good, yeah.
It was nice.
Is that how you feel, Emily?
It's kind of
I
nice
just
to
like going to new places.
seeing new
and
things.
seeing new things.
That's
yeah.
cool too.
Yeah.
I want to go somewhere.
Yeah.
So, what-
you have you're going to be done in a year. Is that weighing heavy on your head? What you're planning to do?
No, I'm actually excited to be done because that's just going to allow me to venture off. Like, I think when I graduate, I am not tied down to anywhere or anything.
That's awesome.
And so
That
I
could be
just am going
scary
to
to
just
people.
apply to areas. I just want to
Exciting.
apply to the world, and if I get a job somewhere, I'll go.
Apply to the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like
Hello,
that.
world.
Take me as I am.
I think that's awesome, and I think that that's something that most people don't take advantage of nearly enough. Is their freedom to go wherever they want,
It's a
live there.
privilege that we should be enjoying and taking advantage of if we can.
And I'll say something else. If you have the opportunity to send your kids abroad at any time in their life,
I think it should be mandatory.
And it is. For my major, it is.
Embracing the unknown too, with her saying that she's excited about that, and you said that could be terrifying for somebody. So
All right. Should we do the next question?
Last text. Get your phones out.
And
And
don't
here's the
automatically
deal.
say who it's to. I
You
noticed
don't need
that.
to, and I try to say that. I don't want to know anything. I just want you to read it. I don't want to know who it's to or who it's from. But I think maybe I'll do a last one you received and last one you sent.
Ooh.
Okay. Well, they go
Okay.
together.
Not necessarily.
Are you going first? I'm ready to go.
Okay. Go ahead.
Mine was about to start recording and going on airplane mode. And the reply was, enjoy your flight.
Oh, is that to your honey?
It was.
Oh.
He's off seeing world record breaking
Yes,
bubbles in
bubbles.
Chardon right now.
Well, can you have him get the card, the guy's card?
Yeah, once I'm off airplane mode.
Yeah. Mine was last received was okay, and then I said yippee.
There's no substance in that.
Yeah, but I love that, right?
All
Doesn't
right.
it make you think?
Okay. Emily.
My last received was, have you watched The Kissing Booth? And I said half of it. Mom watched all of it. That was it.
Is that a good movie?
It was a
It
good
was
movie.
so
It was just
stupid.
It's a comedy,
heard of
right?
it.
right back to grade,
We passed it up last night.
Yeah, it's just
So
right back
stupid.
to grade school. Like,
I'm
it
not a
just brought
cheesy
me
movie
back to-
person.
I never heard of it.
It's just a cheesy movie.
So cheesy.
Okay.
My last one sent was, okay, so what's my cut?
Nice.
And the last one received...
Don't be going through. It's the last one.
No,
received.
because
It's not
all the
that-
last ones were the ones I sent. I mean, one said, yes, that would
said-
be great. See,
Perfect.
this is boring.
Well, that's because you're boring.
At least this was
Molly-
okay and alrighty.
Molly really lashed
Yippee.
out.
Yeah,
there.
It's
Sorry.
yippee. Nellie, last thing you binged.
Just last night or the night before, I finally finished Black Mirror.
Love it.
How many seasons? That's like 3.
There's 4 seasons.
seasons.
But don't start
Some
with
of the
season 1.
episodes were just so mind-blowing that I was thinking about them for days. Shows that like make me question reality. I loved it. There were some that I did not like. The last episode I did not like.
So
And the
to be-
first episode, I hear,
The
is
first
horrible.
episode. That's why, and I don't know if that's why they do this on purpose.
Watch
but
them out of order.
yeah, Netflix has it in order of 4, 3, 2, 1 on seasons because I think the first episode of the first season is so disgusting. It's like
I don't even
so-
remember that
It's
one.
the pig.
Yeah, that's a shocking one to start.
Yeah.
Just right off the bat with.
Yeah.
But there were
Treat.
some really, really
What did they do with
thought-provoking
the pig?
episodes.
What didn't they do with the pig is the
Oh
question.
my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, I really like that show. And I
It's
don't
so
binge
good.
many things. It's not so much I binge, it's just that's the only thing I've been watching when I watch something.
Well, that's called binging.
And I've been that's why I wanted to answer lightning round questions to tell you all that I watched it and I just finished it and it was so great and I loved it.
Oh, so good.
Molly, what are you binging?
You know, I because I've been busy, I haven't had my true binge times. But we've been watching like an occasional Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. The new season just came out, so we've been watching that. I love that show.
Yeah.
Yes, I love it. Emily, what are you binging?
I just watched the whole season of Zumbo's Just Desserts. I haven't
Is that a
seen
cooking show?
It's so good. Yeah, it's like I think they're Australian, and his desserts are just insane. And they have to like recreate them, and it's so good.
Well, we binged Billy on the Street. That's
Billy on
been
the
good.
Street.
And then
Oh,
we did
it's
binge
good.
a little bit of the people who think that they don't really that can bake or
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
That's a good
So
one.
you take normal people and you show them like an extravagant cake, and they try to reproduce it.
I just,
Normal
quite
people
fun.
that aren't bakers.
Like not bakers, just normal unbaking
People who are known for sucking at baking.
Like if we all were like, here's a picture painted by Monet, let's all recreate it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Interesting.
It's very funny.
Alex, are you binging?
Alex, what are you binging?
I just started a series on Dad's recommendation, Nelly. It's called Fauda.
Yeah, he did
And
recommend
it
that.
is it's about this Israeli anti-terrorist unit that goes after terrorists in Israel, but it's from, I guess they're,
Does it do like undercover and
yeah, I'm an episode and a half into it, and I really like it so far. It's pretty intense. Okay, Nelly, you're on a desert island for 3 months.
really tough?
You don't know if it's 3 months or a year or for the rest of your life, and you could bring any single musician's entire discography.
That is really, really tough.
It's not like you haven't had a
but
chance
you
to
did
think
say,
about
I know,
it
and I think
for
about
like
it,
a
and I
year now.
get stuck a lot. You did say live recordings are allowed, or no?
Are allowed, yes.
I mean, it'd probably be Grateful Dead. There's
There's a
so
million
many
of 'em.
recordings, and they cover a lot of songs.
Actually, no, they shouldn't be allowed because it should be the discography, meaning it's what they actually released.
Well, they released live shows.
Dick's Picks.
Can I take Dick's Pics with me?
Are they
Discography
speaking
suggests.
for it? What's going on?
It's like a anthology.
Wait, so you
so I
said the
think
Dead.
I'm saying Grateful Dead.
That counts. We'll give it to you.
Let's move on.
Molly, single musicians, but that's the only musician you're ever going to be able to listen to. Potentially.
Alex, I get it. I get it. I get
She's
that I'm
heard-
stuck on
she's
an
heard you
island.
ask the
I
question.
get that it might be 3 months. You're not quite sure. It could be forever. I get it.
Molly,
It's Journey.
You seem angry.
Journey.
Definitely.
Journey.
Yeah,
Really?
it is. Yes.
Are they the ones that won't stop believing?
yes.
Yeah, it was okay.
Um,
Emily, who would you bring
Ooh,
discography
That's
wise?
very hard because I listen to music 24/7.
Really hard.
And I listen to literally any genre except country. I just don't do country.
Well, then this is going to be a hard question
it's
for
very
you.
hard. But I would honestly say Ed Sheeran because he's the one person I can listen to any album of his from first song to last song.
How many albums does he have?
He has like 3 or 4, I think.
you're on for 3 months, maybe
Yeah.
longer,
Are you
Emily.
Sure, Emily?
I could, yeah.
You're going to listen to those 3 albums
Yeah.
over and over and over
I
again.
could do it, yeah.
for
Because his song,
years.
because he has this like really upbeat songs, and then he has his Supermarket Flowers
You
that
know-
like makes you cry every
you
time.
know what I think?
I don't know if I like this question. Why can't we just pick 5 albums?
Why don't you come up with your own question?
Like I
You
need
can
a
ask
Stevie
whatever you
Wonder.
want.
I need a Joni Mitchell. What am I gonna do without them? I need just like one of their albums. Like,
Oh, Joni
even a-
Mitchell.
Yeah, because you-
I
It's good
think,
for your soul.
Emily, what I
Yeah.
think is when you get off that island, you're gonna hate Ed Sheeran a lot. You're gonna want to
think
murder
so.
him.
have you listened to much Ed Sheeran there? Alex?
I've heard a tune or two, and I've enjoyed them.
Okay.
He's amazing.
I
live.
would bring with me the discography of the Allman Brothers Band.
Ooh.
That's just because you just reheard it
It
again.
reminded me how much I
Yes.
liked them.
How is your
Yeah.
answer not Fish?
Because their studio albums are just okay.
Interesting.
At this point in my
That's
life,
why
there was a time.
you crafted the question to fit.
But if I
okay.
could bring all of their live
Bobby.
albums, it would be Fish for sure.
Well, okay.
All right. Nelly, if
Yep.
you could bring any single author's entire biography.
I haven't spent enough time
that's
thinking
not true.
about this.
Library. If you could bring any single author's entire library of books that they wrote, which author?
That is a challenging question. I feel like right now I am reading this series called the Ringing Cedars series. It's
wrote that?
kind of hard to find. Victor Migre, I think
Interesting.
it's pronounced. And I don't know, it's been passed on to me by somebody. And it's one of those books where you don't really know if it's fiction or nonfiction. And this guy's telling a story of how he went into these like cedar grove, these cedar tree grove in Russia, maybe by Siberia, and there's a woman there with all these like mystical powers, and she's just imparting wisdom right and left.
Fiction.
I
I
was
don't
gonna
know.
say.
I don't know. It does. He writes it as nonfiction, and he makes a lot of references, like footnotes, as if it's like a academic paper.
Okay.
So there's 7 in that series.
That's a good answer. We'll take it.
I'm just
Judges.
maybe I can answer again later.
Ding, 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 ding. All
I'll have another answer
Molly,
later.
you can say Cosmo or TV
Matthew,
Guide.
Mark, Luke, and John.
Ooh,
is
look at
that?
that.
Taking the Bible.
Yeah, I think I would
Oh.
bring the Bible because I think we don't take the time to read it.
Got it now.
And if you're
And I
stuck
How
think
about
we
reading,
could
Emily not knowing what
probably-
you were talking about just now?
Okay, I thought that was all one name. Matthew, Mark, and something.
John
I
Paul
think
Jones.
the Bible could be read and then reread, and depending where you are. Like my first week
A
on
lot of
my
people do
on
that.
my island.
I was like, who's Matthew,
You
Mark?
know,
and-
my first
Paul
week
Jones.
on my island, I would just be like, oh, okay.
Interesting.
But then, 6 months in rereading it, I bet you there's going to be some other things that
Sure.
would strike my fancy. Yeah.
Emily,
I would be Anna Wintour, the editor-in-chief of Vogue.
has she
You write a
written
lot
any
of
books, or would you bring
No,
all
it
of
would be
Vogue?
Vogue because I don't
Okay.
read.
Oh, I
you would
like the outside the box thinking.
Just like
there.
your mama. So you could bring all of the back
All the
issues.
Vogues, yeah.
Wow, that would keep you busy
Does that
forever. You
count?
wouldn't even want to get
I
off
mean,
the
we'll
island.
give it
Yeah,
to
they
you.
have articles in it. They have stories.
But she's not the author of them.
She's the
But she
editor. She
edits.
she probably writes editorials.
Totally
on it.
right. She does everything.
Alex, will we
We'll give it
allow
to
it?
I'll allow that.
Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah. I like the outside the box thinking there, Emily.
Thank you.
I would bring the collected works of Kurt Vonnegut. Hands down.
Love him,
That's a really good one.
Molly.
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 All right. Oh.
Nelly,
I
what
always
is an
go first?
embarrassing story about yourself that nobody else knows?
We're approaching the end.
This is it. This is the
I
last
have a
lightning round
story.
question. Go.
Maybe 5th grade, cafeteria, drinking my milk with the straw, talking to a cute boy. And I'm looking at him as I'm talking. I go to drink my milk, and the straw goes up my nose. And I pulled the milk away, but the straw was still stuck in the nose. So I took it out really quick, and I don't think anyone noticed.
Oh,
That's
that's
I guess
outstanding.
if people
awesome.
notice, then it's more embarrassing. But maybe they didn't
Did you
say
get that
anything. but
date or no?
That's hot.
I don't know. Probably not. He probably wasn't worth it anyway.
He probably thought that was really cool.
Can we find him on Facebook and have him be a guest?
I don't know. If
I know an
remember even
embarrassing
who it
story about
was.
Nelly that not a lot of people know.
Uh-oh.
Can I say that?
Well, I guess we'll find
When
out.
we were, I guess Nelly will decide if this stays in or not. When we were kids, I was probably like 8. Nelly was probably like 2. My best friend Scott Carpenter and I, who lived across the street from me, would we'd play we'd play catch and frisbee and whatever, climb trees, and Nelly and our parents were parents of the year back then and didn't really pay attention to where we went.
All
Nelly
parents were like that.
Nelly
back then.
used to run around diaperless, right? All through the neighborhood, buck naked, and we'd be out
I mean, I
there.
was still at diaper age.
Well, no,
Okay.
yeah,
I
that's
wasn't,
not the embarrassing
13
part.
naked.
No,
Okay.
it was the fact that you would just you don't just buck naked, just run up and down the street, and
Maybe
Scott's
you don't.
parents were like, A, she should be clothed, and B, why is that girl running up and down the street right now? Maybe that's an embarrassing story about mom and dad.
Yeah, I'm not embarrassed at all by that.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty funny, and I don't think I
it's
knew that.
adorable.
Yeah, that's true. Molly,
Get
what's
that
an
up on the podcast?
what's an embarrassing story that no one
Okay.
else knows?
So,
Okay.
it all needs to be understood that I only have one kidney that works.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Really?
works at 100% capacity. The works the way it should work. My left kidney works. It just doesn't work the way it's supposed to work.
What'd you do to it?
I don't know. It's been since I was a little girl.
Really?
Yeah, and then with each pregnancy, it got worse. So with each pregnancy, I would actually have a pee tube, a tube that went out my back into
I
my
didn't know
kidney
that.
and drained my kidney because the bigger I got, it would pinch off. And then my ureter's only this big, and they've had to reflap my bladder to reach it. 'cause they
Calm
cut my
down.
ureter.
Can I interrupt
Yes.
and say this is inspiring a new lightning round question? Why don't you ask people their worst injury? I'm curious.
Or their
That might be-
most failed organ.
Organ. So
So
with
go ahead.
all that said, my things weren't working at 100%. So I was at Kmart, and that's not the funny part. That's not the embarrassing part of the story.
Next.
I was at Kmart, and I really had to go to the bathroom, and I didn't make it. So as I was walking in, number one, as I was walking into the dressing room, I looked at the lady there, and I said, listen,
Clean up on aisle
I
3.
had an accident. I have one kidney down. Could you please, this is my size, could you please go and get me a pair of pants?
How fortunate you were in a clothing store when it happened.
It's at Kmart. There's everything at Kmart.
You're
So
surrounded
he's
by
like-
replacement
Did she
clothes.
get
That's
you
great.
one?
She never came.
She never came back?
She
She left and
never
didn't come back?
What a
came
terrible
back.
person.
I had to yell from the dressing room. Were you guys there?
I was not
That
there.
is
I don't know how it.
I
Or
think you were
customer
alone.
terrible,
I
Kmart.
was-
They
That's
went
why
out
you're-
of business, didn't
I
they?
put
That's why.
back on my wet pants. I went out. I grabbed a pair. I was in the men's section. I grabbed a pair of men's thing. I went back in. I then went to tell her that I left my wet pants in there for her, and then I went and paid for my man's
Oh,
pants.
I was gonna say you can wear the men's pants while you look for pants that you really do want to buy.
No, I just bought those.
I mean that would be gross, but that's what she gets.
You're
I
saying
know.
you found her afterwards and said, I left a bunch of pee pants in
Yes.
there?
Well, she was still working.
didn't
I
take 'em
said,
home with
Thank you
you?
so much. I can't. No, I left them in for her.
Was she an older lady or a younger lady?
No.
Like middle-aged?
Yeah,
So I would have.
Well, you could take
Horrible.
those clothes home and
Horrible.
wash them.
That's why you're not in business
It
anymore,
just-
Kmart.
It wasn't.
It's more out of
I'm not
spite.
gonna
I
walk
left
out
my
with what? I
pee-
have
Right.
no bag.
Right.
And what am I gonna do with them?
That's like, yeah,
Unbelievable.
that is a good story,
Huh.
Molly.
So that's my
story
So my
that-
embarrassing
yeah.
story probably would be freshman year of college, and I was completely sober. I had
embarrassing part.
I had a roommate, and it was about a month into us living together, so we weren't that close, and we had lofted beds. And it was about 2 a.m, and I was very hot. I was wearing a sweatshirt and leggings to bed, which is not smart. So I had taken that off. So I was just in my underwear and my bra for the night. And I decided at 2 a.m. that I had to pee, and our bathrooms were in the hallway. So I had to go down, and
Dorm
I was
living.
like, what?
Dorm living.
Yeah. I decided I was going to just change into my t-shirt and shorts when I got down to my dresser, and in my head as I was coming down from my bed, I was thinking I got to be really quiet because my roommate's sleeping, and I'm in my bra and underwear. I don't want to make a lot of noise, make a big scene. And sure enough, the second step down from the top of the ladder, which I think there's probably 8 ladder steps, I fell, I slid, and our beds were pretty close to each other, and I fell back, smacked into her ladder, and then basically just funneled down in between the 2 ladders. And she woke up, obviously, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, are you okay?" And all I could say was, "Don't look at me, I'm naked." and that was the story.
Look
And
at me, I'm hideous.
yeah, and then I had a back issue. I couldn't go to class for the next 2 days.
I mean, it kind of sounds familiar, but I don't remember the funneling between the stairs part, so it was worth telling again.
Yeah, it's
I
good
was
to visualize.
I was hoping the story ended up with you landing on top of your roommate.
I did too. I thought it was
your
going
butt
that
in her
way.
face
No.
or something.
No, it didn't get
Or
that bad.
something.
But she's still my roommate now till senior year. So
Yeah.
clearly I didn't scare her off.
Maybe
from
if you
that.
would have landed on top of her, things
Yeah,
would have
she
ended
did. She
differently.
did wake up the next day and say that she thought I was paralyzed, and that concerned me that she
That's
went to
scary.
bed so easily after she asked if I was okay, and thought I was paralyzed. But that's my
It is
story.
very
That's a
impressive, I
solid
must say, that you're still going to room. That you roomed with your same
I'm not
person
friends
all
with people
4
I
years.
live with. After
Yeah.
we're roommates, we don't
They-
ever talk
No.
They
again.
learn about you too much.
Alex,
though.
do you have an embarrassing story that you haven't
I-
told? Or
I
have you
can't
told them
remember
all?
if I've told it or not.
Start telling it. And
I
I'll
know
tell
the
you.
one you told. But,
Which one did I tell?
I can't remember.
Was it
Apparently, you don't know.
was it
that.
the Bobby Atchison wrestling story?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
I don't
with the
remember
girl.
that one.
With the girl, yeah,
Yes.
We'll have to dig and
The
find
short-
out what episode that was.
yeah, yeah. All right. So then did I tell the one about? Well, I'm just gonna tell it because there's no way to describe it other than with the way it ended. So I was in 10th or 11th grade, and I was out on a date with this girl, and we went back to her house afterwards, and
10th or 11th grade?
yeah, and I was dropping her off. And we're in her driveway, and it's 2 a.m, right? And all the lights in the entire neighborhood are off, including her parents. And she's like, "My dad is a super, super light sleeper. So when you get when you get there, just shut the car off right away, right?" Plus, I was driving this beater of a Ford Thunderbird that had no muffler, and it was really loud. So So then we started making out in the car. And the way that Ford Thunderbird is set up is the horn is the turn signal, but you got to push it in, right? And we were making out in the car at 2 a.m. in her driveway. And somehow I was trying to maneuver my body, right? And I picked up my leg and it hit her horn. It hit the horn.
Oh,
but the horn wouldn't stop.
Oh,
It
no.
was 2 a.m. and my car was honking its horn
Oh, no.
without stopping. And she's like, just get the hell out of here. Just go.
Oh, no.
And she runs into the house. I start the car and I bolt out of there
Thank
like
goodness
a bat
the
out
car
of hell.
started.
Gosh,
Dude,
yeah.
it was terrible. But the thing
Did
is,
you
the
see her
car,
again?
the horn wouldn't stop, and I was driving down Mayfield Road all the way back to our house with
Did
the
it
horn
ever
on.
stop?
I just kept beating on it until it stopped.
And did you
terrible.
see her again?
No, definitely not. That was it.
Her dad
Nope,
wouldn't let
nope.
her.
I was really afraid of her
Can we
dad
find
too.
her
Who's a
on?
cop.
Can we find her on Facebook so that we could bring her in?
I don't know, man. I don't think she
Let's
wants.
have a podcast of 2 people that Alex and Molly would never want to interview and just bring them in.
As a surprise.
And Nellie and I will interview them.
We could bring in Ed Trebitz because I did make him.
Oh
popular
my
in
gosh.
high
Okay, well,
school.
you can't do that one.
How did you make him popular in high school, Molly?
I went to dance with him.
Ooh.
And then everybody after that,
Were you prom queen?
no.
So you weren't that popular.
I would
Not
vote
prom
for you
queen.
for prom
I think
queen.
I'd vote for you too.
Oh my god. Well, on that note, kids at home, this has been a very
So much fun. I feel like
This has
there's
been a good
still
one.
more, but it's
I
been
feel it's
a
Yeah.
while.
One of our most boring episodes. we've
whatever.
ever
This was
had.
awesome. You're
You mean
cray-cray.
one of the ones where it's just the two of you without me and Emily are the most boring? You mean?
If by boring you mean awesome, I agree with you.
Well, I had a great time.
This was fun. This was
I
so much
wonder if
fun.
there's anything else that we should fit into this episode, or save it for the 75th or the 100th episode.
here's what I would say is if you have listened this far, then you are a diehard fan, and what that means is you should email us and say,
First,
I
let's
listened.
say thank
Oh
you.
my gosh, I want our first fan letter. Can somebody send us a fan letter?
Mom, you can't ask
please?
for a fan
I know,
letter.
really.
Yes, I'm asking right now for a fan letter. Please, somebody. An
Sounds so
email.
desperate and
Do they
sad.
have an address?
I
to
mean, if
send
the
it
letter
to?
doesn't say because you asked for
Right.
this, I'm
And
writing
I don't
it.
care if it's from Mr. Gertzberg. Papa
Jeez.
Gertzberg.
You haven't sent her one?
Dad'll send her one.
Dad'll send one.
I don't
By
think
the
he
way, Dad,
listens.
I know no, he does, and Dad, you don't have to respond to every one of Molly's Facebook posts with a
Absolutely.
comment.
It's the only reason I do
Please.
it.
I mean,
only
every
reason I
single
do
one,
it.
Dad.
Absolutely.
This is embarrassing story still, right?
Absolutely.
Dad,
you
stop.
you
No.
talk to me on my Facebook Lives anytime you want.
Can we do something big for the climax of our 50th episode? Are you guys listening? You're both on your phones.
We're looking for. Okay.
You're both on your
Dad
phones.
responding to stuff. I think we've got to. What are you thinking, Nellie? You've got something in mind?
Should we write a poem?
We should do like a barbershop quartet of something. That'd be
Hello.
silly.
Hello.
Hello.
What do you suggest?
How about nothing? I think that we ended it just fine without a grand finale.
I think we need to thank our listeners.
Good. I like that. Listeners, we thank you.
We
Yes.
thank you. You were starting to make
Well,
a
this was
request
my-
for them to contact us.
Before I was
but before
so-
we get to that, we say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, listeners.
Thank you.
Thank you, listeners, and
Yeah.
thank you for your future fan mail you're going to send.
Right. Listeners, you are awesome. We love you. I was going to say that if you have listened this far and you're not our dad, or not your mom
Stop
or your dad.
dissing on Papa Gertzberg.
I'm
I
not.
don't
Stop it. I'm saying if you're
understand.
all right, Dad, you can be included in this too.
Yes.
If you've listened this far, then you are a true fan.
Yes.
And if you are the first, if you are among the first 5 people to send Molly a fan email, you will get a Gertzberg Law Firm collapsible cup.
Reusable.
Reusable.
Dishwasher safe.
10 cents
hot and
off.
cold drinks.
10 cents off at Starbucks whenever you bring it there.
Is that true?
Yeah, because it's reusable.
That's a great
Yeah.
offer.
Molly, anything from the chamber?
I'm sure that it's reusable. Why don't we cut
We need big giveaways. That's a great idea.
Einstein's? I bet you would fill it up.
Einstein's might.
And they're environmentally friendly. You
Yeah.
reuse your
Oh,
cups.
you should,
don't
yeah.
need to have a new cup every
Yeah.
time you drink. You don't need straws.
Molly
you don't need plastic bags. You can have
Sometimes I need
reusable
straws.
everything.
Sometimes I need straws.
Molly, anything that will the chamber contribute to giveaway for the first 5?
The first
Swag.
5 will give a things to know, places to go when you want, the place to go when you want to know, tote reusable bag.
A reusable bag and a reusable cup.
We're so environmentally
These are
friendly.
really nice gifts.
I
Yes,
love
they
this.
are.
All right, so be the first to send Molly a fan letter so she doesn't cry herself to sleep tonight in the fetal position.
But I think I want an old-fashioned one. I don't want
In
an
the mail?
email.
Well, then you have to send it to the chamber address.
83 North Main
Molly,
Street,
it's
Chagrin Falls, Ohio,
2018.
44022. Yep.
Man.
That's how Sean
You mean
Cassidy got
snail
mine.
mail?
People don't even know how to send mail anymore.
That's how
I
Sean
think she
Cassidy-
has a crush on the mailman, maybe.
No.
Big giveaway this
Keep the
episode.
strippers, but cut that out.
Send
your
your
fan
letters
mail.
to Molly at the Chagrin Valley Chamber, 83 North Main Street. We'll put the address in the summary notes.
I'm going to break away, and I will say, if you also want to send it by email, I will still give you a collapsible cup.
And I'll
you
give
could
you a
send
bag.
it to, you know what? That's tricky. Send it to Best.Podcast.Ever 1,
Number
the number
one.
1 at gmail.com.
There you go.
Because you
Good
know
call.
what? The first 5 email or
Let's not
mail
stress over this, kids.
No, we're
It's
good.
going to be Papa Gertzberg.
gifts for you.
All right. Oh, and you cannot. It's one prize per household. You cannot
That's
just
a good
send 5. You can't
But I
send
will
5
tell
in.
you are.
You know
Or
what?
5 copies.
You
of
can
the
send me as
letter.
many as you want.
All right, kids. Well, this was awesome. Thank you
Thanks,
for
everybody.
listening.
Thanks for joining
Thanks, everyone.
us.
Thanks, Emily, for sitting in,
Thank
and
you,
Nellie for
Emily.
sitting in.
Yeah.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks, Molly.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks,
All
Nellie.
right. Thanks, guys. Bye. Folks, don't forget to go to our Facebook page and hit like. It's Best Podcast Ever Facebook page. And then go to thebestpodcastever.com and hit subscribe. That's everything Nellie wanted us to say, right?
I think so.
I think so, too.
I think so.